All right, all right, all right. How you doing, man? How was your trip to New York?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm back. Getting ready for camping like a week and a half now. So always a good time of year for me to take a little trip. I got friends over there, so it's always easy for me to just get there and just hang out to New York City. We were on a beach in Connecticut for a couple of days. July 4th, spent that there. The weather was a lot better over there than it was here. It was so cloudy and rainy over here. So once I got the okay that they were hosting, then I said, all right, let me get my ass up there.
Okay, I like it. I like it. By the way, is there what do you think about like improving your background game? Like add more stuff back there. You got to have a bunch of stuff that you've collected. You know what I'm saying?
Like
Yeah.
sports, like
Yeah.
credentials, memorabilia, like
Yeah. I think Moser does that shit, right? That he hangs all his credentials there,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I do know
Moser
what to
does
think.
that. You don't want to copy what Moser does. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Moser's the only one that does that whole thing with the credential. If I hung my credentials, bro, I have a box and a half of just credentials. And dude, we're talking credentials that are old as hell too, bro. Like I could actually whip out some stuff that's classic.
Mm,
Now that I think about it, you know what I'm saying? It's but it wouldn't even the background wouldn't be enough. I'd have so much it would be ridiculous.
yeah,
I collected every credential of everything that I ever went to. I kept it all. I
I
kept
might if I could get like a shelf here or something.
you gotta
Yeah,
start adding
or like use some
there's
overhead
yeah,
space.
there's
So,
too much white. It's too
oh
much
well, it's because I'm
white.
wearing a white shirt today, so
It's just too
that's
much
what gives the
white.
appearance.
There's too much. Well, there's got to be no white back there. You know, only your shirt, but everything else should be covered with something, bro. So there's stuff that I bet you can put back there that people would be like, "Oh, that's cool." This, that, whatever. You know, that kind of stuff. Not like me. The stuff I put back there is dumb and ridiculous. That nobody cares about. But you probably got some cool stuff back there. So I'm just saying, a little color back there. You
Yeah,
know.
I do. I'd have to install a shelf here so that then I could like throw some of that stuff up there, and then yeah. But I mean, I think it only stands out today because I got the white shirt with a white wall. So I think that's why it sort of hits the eye today.
Well, really, it's not standing out. That's what I'm trying to get to. I wanted to joking with you. Anyway, all right, let's get to it, my brother. The changes that were made this off season, a lot of it looked very different in the sense that there was a lot of meat. We talked about it throughout the off season that I wanted this to be about the fat boys and stop being the disorderlies. And they did that. They got fat guys on the O line, they got fat guys on the D line, and they got the meat to the matter. They got big backs. And, a lot of it I read into it being okay, this is the front office saying, no, no, we got to change our ways. But, from what I'm hearing, there's also maybe a lot of that also maybe coming from McDaniel realizing that he's got to change his ways. Now, I take all of this with a grain of salt. Okay. He's got to show it to me when push comes to shove because you know it, you've seen it, you've covered it. There are moments where the running game is working and working just fine. You're playing against the Ravens and you're handing it off to Mostert and he gets 4 yards. And then he gets 3 yards and then he gets 6 yards and then he gets 5 yards and then you decide to throw a stupid screen that ends up becoming a fumble or whatever. And so the stupid things that go on sometimes against Green Bay or Buffalo, we've seen it. Run game's working and he abandons it. I know they got to run in order to really succeed in offense. So you tell me, have you heard any of that kind of stuff too? Do you believe any of that kind of stuff too? Where do you stand with what they did and what the perception is and what you think were they in the direction they could be going in?
Yeah, so I guess on three levels, yes, I've heard it. Yes, even Mike McDaniel officially at the podium, was it the last? I think it was the last press conference he did. Gave me an answer that to a question I had that I felt stuck to that. And 3, then I think also it's not just what they're saying. I think their actions do show that. So I think when he did answer to the question about taking pressure off of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the outside and getting them back into the mix, which it was very effective in 22 and 23. Offense was great. Last year, they couldn't do it. A lot of it when Tua wasn't in there, but also even the games when he was, then it wasn't to the same level. You weren't as consistently getting the ball to Tyreek Hill, neither him or nor Jalen Waddle. And I think he understands that the biggest aspect to the offense that helps free them up is if the running game is effective. Because if it's just cover 2 all the time, too high, both sides of the field, a safety's got help on them. They can bracket those 2 players. And yes, you had Jonnu Smith open all the time to make his catches. You had Devon Achane able to make a lot of catches out of the backfield. It frees them up, sure. But you're not going to have the same overall results if it's not that you're getting the ball to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And I think he knows that the biggest way to do that is if you are a threat in the run game, a consistent threat, and you have true balance in the offense. So that, yes, you can get the ball to your 2 biggest playmakers on the outside. But how you do that is you make sure that safety has to come in, that they are keeping the 7 in the box. And then if you're really running it down their throat, they bring an 8 into the box. Now, all of a sudden, you can hit the big play to Tyreek Hill in single coverage deep down the sideline.
So obviously that means the big backs. I don't know. I know Madison can play because we've watched him already in the NFL. The Ollie kid, physically, I love what he brings to the table. It's exactly what you need out of a back. And I don't measure because they took him in the 6th round. That doesn't mean shit to me, dude.
Oh, not at all.
You could get a good player, especially a running back, at any part in the draft or in free agency, undrafted or whatever, dude, because running backs just fall through the cracks. So I got to see those guys. Plus Jalen Wright. I didn't understand that last year, bro. He looked good at times when they were using him in camp and in preseason. And then all of a sudden, dude, in the regular season, they kind of turned it off and they went and depended too much on Achane. That cannot happen this year. So your thoughts on Jalen Wright, because he's a guy that's bulked up a little bit too, right? So I would imagine that the plan is to increase the workload on Jalen Wright.
Yeah, and he already had decent size coming in as someone who has the combination of size and speed. And yeah, it perplexed a lot of people how Jalen Wright, when he was hot, then wasn't getting the carries in bulk and numbers. Obviously, the bulk of the workload going to Devon Achane. And for everything, that Achane is a phenomenal player, skilled athlete, and who can run the ball out of the backfield, catch the ball out of the backfield. But he's not the one that's going to bring a physical presence to the run game. So I think you're going to have that with now the incorporation of Jalen Wright more so. And then the other moves that they made, bringing in Alexander Mattison. I know a lot of people dog him for his vision, his expected yards per attempt, and like how the analytics and his yards per carry didn't really maybe match up. But
you know, I hate to interrupt you on that one with Madison. The problem with people is they're looking at Madison like he's some kind of savior. He's a blue collar back, bro, that does everything for you. He's not great at anything, and he's not terrible at anything. He's just kind of solid at everything. You know what I'm saying? He's just a good football player, but he's not the guy that's going to be the savior of your run game. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have to be Achane and Wright making some big plays for you. The Ollie kid, you know, the I don't know what he brings, and we'll see. And you know, physically I see it, but Madison is a solid professional, is what he is. That's all you're getting. And at this point, I think that's what they need. Unless you're going to make a big investment on a guy, which they did not do that with Alexander Madison, you're just getting a solid football player there, nothing else, and that's good enough.
Yeah, and a guy who will give you some short yardage, because that was the biggest thing was you got your 4-yard carry, then you threw a short pass, and you were tackle draw 1 yard shy, so 3rd and 1. But you were toast after that last year. You couldn't hit the convert to 3rd and 1. So you were running plays going sideways, and with Achan, with the guards getting blown up, and then you get tackled for a loss or at the line of scrimmage. So now you can go straight up, run behind James Daniels, Jonas Navainaya, with Alexander Madison carrying the ball. I like your chances a lot more.
Ingold, the
Ingold
hammer.
right there to the lead block. Come on.
Yeah, come on. The hammer leading the way, dude. Yes, I like it. Plus, the other thing that people don't understand on short yardage, there's an intelligence factor that comes with it. You need to read the line and read the holes, and you need to know how to fall forward for that yard or two that you need. And that's something that I guarantee you Madison brings to the table. He's not here to run for 150 yards and break a 75-yarder and be super dynamic or anything like that. But that tough yard and a half, 2 yards that you need, that's exactly what he's going to be able to do, because he's going to be able to find that crease that he needs to kind of push his body right in there and get those tough yards. So to me, I know exactly why they brought Alexander Madison, and I don't have a problem with it. I know there's a utility to him.
I'll tell you what, if Alexander Madison at the end of the year is averaging 2.8 yards per carry, but he has converted 14 of 16, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 3rd and 2 for first downs, plus and 5 touchdowns, because he's also getting maybe some goal line carries. That is a hell of a season. Even if he has 2.8 yards, even if he's under 3 yards a carry, if he's hitting a high success rate on those specific plays, then you got everything you need out of him with that signing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. And again, if you're able to run the ball, push people around in short yardage, all of those kind of things, you're not going to see 2 deep safeties anymore. It's over. You can't, that's where it ends. And then that's where Tua will pick you absolutely apart, like all great passers. But if you start making it harder for them because you can get there on pass rush, the days that Brady would struggle, it's because Miami's pass rush got to him. And then they could cheat, and that's it. And they could cover more because JT and the boys were getting there, flat out with their front four. When you can do stuff like that, and on the reverse, when you can run the ball on people and cripple that middle of the field, it just opens everything up, man. And that's kind of what you have to get to. And we'll see if they do, but at least they're trying to get to that area. The question is now, will Mike McDaniel have the discipline to stay with it in those key moments?
Yeah, there's that. I'll give you another scenario. If it's 3rd and 1 and you bring Alexander Madison in, but you already know you're going for 4th down, if you don't get it, you could play action to him and then hit Tyreek. The defense is going to be drawn in, trying to stop that run, especially if you've had a high success rate with it, and then go hit a play action to Tyreek Hill over the top. And then, hey, if you miss that, well, you do know you have 4th and 1 where you could actually run the short yardage play. So, I do, to your question that you set me up for, I do believe, I think Mike McDaniel will turn the corner. I'll believe in him. That I know he hasn't shown it yet, and I know it's like one of those fool me once, fool me twice, whatever things, but I feel like this year, probably with a lot more pressure on the line, he had just gotten the extension before that. I think now you got to feel the pressure if you're him. He understands hot seat. He's been asked about it. Yeah, he was asked about it at the end of last season. Owners meetings, he said, I'd like to be on the same hot seat as Nick Sirianni. I think he's going to identify that, yes, the physicality in the run game to the offense and just physicality overall for the team, those are the things that can get the team over some hump. I don't know what hump that is, but those are the key things that need. Yeah, we'll get too much into the minutia if we're talking about what the hump is.
It's true. No,
it's
everything you're saying is right. Yeah, everything you're saying is right. Yeah. It's about getting over that point, and until you're in that moment, we won't believe it. You know what I'm saying? And we won't believe it. And until it becomes habitual, we truly won't believe it. You know what I mean? Because obviously there's going to be aberrations in certain moments. And that's kind of what the running game has been for the Miami Dolphins for 40 years now. An aberration. Oh, it's a Jay Ajayi year. Oh, it's a Lamar Smith year. Oh, it's 2 Ricky Williams years. But everywhere else in between, there's nothing. There's no real like force of running the ball year in and year out. And even with Achan, while the numbers are pretty, it's more of a finesse type of running game. It's not really a, here, hey, we're coming at you. It's short yardage. You know what's coming. You know what we're going to do, but we're going to do it anyways. And that's when you really have a running game. And dude, I have to be it's when I was a kid when we had Zonka. We haven't had that since then, bro. We haven't had that fear that dude's coming out of the backfield and he's going to nail you and that the line is going to run over you and that they're going to maul you. That has never been the Miami Dolphins, dude, for 40 years. Just hasn't.
Yeah. And I don't know that, and well, I could probably tell you it's not going to be their identity per se, but it'll be something that you at least have a threat in that area. I think that's what you need, especially when you do know.
I agree so much on that. I agree so much.
Right.
There's no way you go from what you are and have been to all of a sudden you're going to be, running the ball like the Baltimore Ravens and you're just mauling people and putting up 250 yards. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, which is kind of why, exactly with what you just said, why, and I know my colleague Chris Perkins spearheaded this, and I was right there on board with him, is if they would have brought in Derrick Henry, and we talked about it when all that was going on that offseason, at a time when a lot of people thought the Dolphins offense didn't need anything more. 2023, they had the number 1 offense. I think it was number 2 scoring offense, number 6 rushing offense. There was a lot of finesse in the run game, though. We were talking about how if Derrick Henry could have been the addition to this offense, oh my God, what that could have been like. So, and then we saw, we saw what it was without him, then how much it just fell down last year. A lot of it, yes, Tua missed 6 games, 6 and change, whatever. But boy, if you had Derrick Henry in this offense, I mean, to have to physically go against him in the box, and then you have the speed of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the outside going long, that's a tough combination. The same way the Ravens now, they have in the backfield itself, Lamar Jackson takes that snap in the shotgun behind center, and that read option of he could either hand it off to Derrick Henry and you either have to tackle his power or he keeps it himself, and all of a sudden you're in chase down mode on one of the best athletes to ever play the quarterback position and probably just overall athletes in the NFL. So plus you got then Zay Flowers able to take it over the top, Rashad Bateman, etc. So right. I mean, just a threat that that gives an offense is immense.
And I'll tell you something, and to a certain extent, it's a little unfair of a comparison because I'm talking about just a little over 20 years ago, and some cat named Jamie Nails came out of nowhere, and he was like he had a couple of moments in the NFL, and then had a downturn. And the Dolphins picked him up on that downturn, and he kind of revitalized his career. And that offseason and that training camp and preseason and all that. Now, again, it's a little unfair because back then they hit a lot more than they hit now. So when I was covering, you could get a better feel for the run game than you could now because they just don't hit enough and run enough. Whereas, back when I'm talking about, they were still doing the middle drill to start off the damn day, so it's a whole different ballgame. But my point is that year I turned to Dolphin fans and said early in the preseason, I said, hey guys, we're going to have a running game this year. These guys are going to be able to run. And I think it was the Lamar Smith year. And sure enough, Jamie Nails is out pulling and all that. And they had a great year running the ball. And it was one of those few years where you remember, right? They were like a force running the ball, and they needed to be, because you had Jay Fiedler. You needed to really have a great running game to kind of complement Jay. And to me, this is what I lead to your question. You're going to have to see either in training camp or in the scrimmages, which are going to be the points where you're going to have those opportunities. It's not about, hey, they got the ball to Tyreek and Waddle. Bro, they could do that a lot. And if you fix the running game, it's going to get even better. To me, that's bullshit. I'm not worried about that. But if you come out of those practices and you tell me, oh, shit, and you're writing about how the Dolphins ran on them and pushed them around and all that, and since you get to practice against all these teams, including Detroit, right? Don't they get to practice against the Psycho? Two of them.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell. So two of them.
Yeah. So if those are the moments that if you see them actually run the ball and push them around, that's when I'm going to say, hey, guess what? We might just have a running game. Maybe. Just maybe.
Right. Yeah, that stuff wouldn't become evident early on because you don't even have pads on for the first several practices.
Right.
Then there will be there won't be live tackling to the ground, but then the pads come on. You can at least get some sense of the physicality of the team, but it won't all be there. But then, yeah, when you go against someone else now, that's when I really want to see it. First, they'll have a joint practice with the Bears in Chicago, or outside of Chicago, their facility over there, and then they're staying out in the Midwest in the middle of August. From that preseason game, they'll go to Detroit and then have a couple more joint practices against them. So yeah, and if you could do it against Dan Campbell and his boys, who just from the head on down, he instills that in his team. Obviously, he has an offensive background, but and they're changing defensive coordinators and whatnot. But I think that'll be a good test. That'll be a good litmus test, as much as you can for
all of it. Will be all of those practices will be good for the test of their running game to find out. Get an early read if they're really truly dedicated to the run. Because you don't really give away too much there. You're going to give away a lot more in your passing game. So, you know what? You're better off keeping that more under the hood, and you're better off sending a signal like, "Hey, we're a different Dolphins team this year. We're going to punch you in the mouth." And I think that's really important to send. So that's why I'm saying, okay, talk is cheap. Show me now in these practices. We'll see.
And especially those practices, the playbook is so much what's the word, like run down, where it's not like you're going to be showing what you're really doing. It's right. The basics. You're running the basics there. So that's when you show, just run a dive play right through the A gap. Just show like, all right, we're going to be running up the middle, and let's see how that works.
Exactly. I'm with you there. All right, what do you got going on in the Sentinel, my brother?
Yeah, actually, I was just at an event where Randy Moss was promoting his chicken restaurant, Crispy's, which is partnering with the Dolphins and Hard Rock Stadium. So they'll be available at games, and he update on his health. Obviously, he's been battling cancer, so that's cool to see him doing well.
Great news, bro. Great news. He's winning that battle, bro. Thank God.
Right. Yeah. And he had a fiery response to me. I asked him about where he stands all time. So I'm excited to get that one out there. And outside of that, we're running our Countdown to Camp series. So myself and Chris Perkins are running out different storylines going into next season. I already had one out on McDaniel and Chris Greer, the combination of them, who's on the hot seat. We've talked about that at length here, and what was the other one I had up already? Oh boy, I'm already blank. But we've got that series going, and I've got a few more to roll out next week as well.
Beautiful. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. You too.
You got it. Welt Rheaume, call my guys, man. And listen, we're in hurricane season right now. So I hope you don't even ever have to call Welt Rheaume. Seriously. Okay? I hope you never need them, because obviously they're there when things are tough. Bankruptcy, condo damage, homeowner property damage, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. So it's not stuff that's really fun, but you need people to really defend you. And these insurance companies, they're not looking out for you. So save the number 954-966-4646. Put it on that cell phone right now. 954-966-4646. Jeff and Dan, Jeff Welt, Daniel Rheaume, consultations completely free. But God forbid something happens. We get hit by a rainstorm, by a thunderstorm, by a hurricane, God forbid, a tornado, and you suffer damage, or a water event and you're seeing brown spots on your roof. Don't ever call the insurance company. You call Welt Rheaume, they send their adjusters, and then they call the insurance company and they take on the insurance company for you. You never have to deal with the insurance company, and all you're going to do is pick up a check at Welt Rheaume. Call them, and the consultation's free. They'll tell you if you got a case or not. 954-966-4646.